couple years ago, my friend wanted to get a new computer, and he had a certain budget and things he was looking for, but he couldn't quite find one within his price range. So I suggested to him, I said, you know, you could probably build your own for cheaper, and it'll have all the stuff you want. And according to some research, that is the case. People like Ralph Nate say that people who build their own computer, it performs 4% better than a store-bought computer, and you could save 10 to 20% total on your purchase. So my friend saved about $200, which is pretty good. So in this speech, I think it'll be beneficial to you because you're going to save some money and you're going to be satisfied with your computer's performance. So the three main topics I'm going to split it up into are I'm going to install your power supply, your CPU, RAM, and your motherboard. Your second step, I'm going to install your hard drive, your peripherals, and your graphics card. And your third step, I'm going to show you just how to turn it on and then how to install an operating system. So we get to our first step. First thing you want to do is install the power supply. Usually it goes in the very back, goes on the bottom or top. You're going to want to leave it unplugged until the very end. You would take a screwdriver usually. There's usually 4 screws on the very back you would screw in. And that's as easy as that. The second thing you want to do, you need to prep your motherboard. And you want to also make sure you're always wearing a static cable because you don't want to shock the motherboard because you'll be out $100 and that wouldn't be very fun. So the first two things you want to do before you put the motherboard in, you need to put the CPU on, which is usually just a little chip. You would put it in place. There's usually a latch that you could just latch up and down. And then you have the option of, you can apply heat paste to the CPU to keep it cool. And you usually want to put a fan over it. You can put it right on there. Again, you would take a screwdriver and you would just screw on 4 screws. So we're just going to pretend it's there. The second step, what you want to do, you need to install your RAM. Usually at the bottom, and a CPU motherboard usually has about 4 slots. Usually only 1 or 2 is really needed. And it's easy as just taking it, sticking it right in place until it clicks. And once it's in place, then you're good to go. And then what we want to do next is attach the motherboard to the case. Usually it takes about 6 to 9 screws. So we're going to put that right in there. And just screw it in right there. It takes a lot longer if I were to actually do it. And then what you need to do is obviously there's the biggest power connector in the power supply is going to go to the motherboard. So you're going to take that and you're just going to connect it right there. So moving on to our next few steps, we're going to install our graphics card, our hard drive, and our peripherals. We'll start with the hard drive. There's 2 different kinds you can use. You can use an SSD or an HDD. Most people use HDD because it's cheaper and you get more memory for it. A solid state's just faster. So we're going to use it in this case. Usually it goes in the front, near the bottom. So it would also take 4 little screws to come with it. You would just screw those in. And then once again, connect it to the power supply. So the next thing we're going to do, install a graphics card here. You always want to make sure it fits in your case, obviously, before you buy one and find out it doesn't fit and then have to take it back. There's usually a slot for it in the middle of your motherboard. So you're just going to kind of slide it right in there. Usually it'll be more toward the back because it has video connectors on it as well that are going to connect to your monitor in just a second. And then after that, you're also going to want to plug it into the power supply because usually it's more powerful and requires a little bit more power. Graphics card, usually people want to have one just because it makes your resolution go up and you have better performance in terms of frames and whatnot. It's not necessary, but I would recommend it. So the last thing we need to look at is your peripherals. You have your monitor, and then you have keyboard and mouse. So you're going to want to, usually keyboard and mouse are USB. So you would just take those and on the back of the case somewhere, you would find the USB slot. You just plug it in, it'll be good to go. Monitor, obviously, you would find a cord on the back, you would need to plug it into your wall. If it has built-in audio, there's a cable that plugs into the back and there's a green power source on the back of your case that you plug into it as well. And the last thing you need is a video connector. You can use DVI, VGA, or HDMI. These are all cables that transmit your video, and it goes from your monitor to usually your graphics card if you have one installed. So that's how that's going to work. So the third step, we have everything installed. We need to make sure it all works. We're going to finally plug in the power supply into your power outlet of choice. We're going to turn it on. Now, there's nothing installed on it yet, so the only thing you can do is load up to a BIOS screen, which I have a little picture of here. Usually what all that's going to do is it's going to tell you what parts you have installed, and you look at it and you make sure, okay, everything's enabled and it's running properly. There's a few things you can do. You can adjust fan speed, you can adjust what boot order you're looking in, but mainly what you want to do is just make sure everything says enabled. And as long as everything you installed in there is enabled, everything should be running properly. So then the next thing you have to do, you need to install an operating system. In this case, I'm going to use Windows as an example. You can do it with a disk or a USB, but if you're going to go for the cost-efficient way, I would go with a USB, because you could download the operating system from the manufacturer website, put it on a USB, and then you just need to get an activation key from them, which will cost about $40 less than actually buying the disk version. So you're going to turn the computer back off, and then you're going to find a USB slot, whether it be on the front, whether it be on the back. And you're going to plug that in. You're going to turn it back on. There'll be a prompt on the monitor, and it'll usually say select boot device. So you're going to press a button, whichever one says select boot device. You're just going to load up and select your USB. And then it'll ask you if you want what you want to install, and it'll say, okay, install this operating system. Good, we're good to go. So you get it fully installed. You're going to have to apply the activation key that you bought. So it'll appear on the screen, type it in, and then you'll be good to go. So it'll turn on, it'll activate, you'll be at your home screen, and you'll be all set. So in this speech, what I did, I taught you guys how to build a computer. I went through 3 main processes. I went through installing your power supply, installing your RAM, your CPU, and your motherboard. And then second, I taught you how to install your HDD, your hard drive, your graphics card, and all your peripherals. And third, I showed you how to do a first-time startup and how to install your operating system. And hopefully, if you guys are ever in need of a computer in the future, you'll consider building your own, because you can save money and it'll perform better than you want.